We are talking The Demon Disorder, and this is directed by Stephen Boyle. This is an Australian kind of possession movie, I suppose. Now, I should point out The Demon Disorder. So there is actually a genetic condition, it's very rare, that is sometimes called the demon disorder. This movie is not about that. The disorder is where, in very rare cases, people see other people as kind of somewhat distorted and they kind of look demonic, hence the title. In itself, quite an interesting idea for a movie, but this is not what this is about. However, it does have a kind of medical edge to it to a degree. It focuses on three brothers who are estranged, and it seems their father had an unknown ailment that may well have been some type of demonic possession, but this kind of possession plays more like a parasitic virus, and these guys don't really know much about what it's all about. Probably think initially it was some type of mental health issue, but obviously I think coming to realise that it's something more otherworldly. And they are, at this point, estranged. The father is dead, but one of the brothers, the youngest one, appears to be suffering from the same type of ailment. And so the other two brothers try to put the differences aside to deal with this younger brother now, who seems to be suffering from a similar, if not the same type of ailment. Or can it even be the kind of the essence of the father is still there, and maybe even something to do with the actual condition and these kind of parasitic entities that seem to be gestating within these kind of brothers. What will happen? You'll have to watch the movie to find out. So let's discuss what I think works in this movie. So this, I think, is a little bit different from some kind of possession movies. The Possessed, I think, although they are, they're black-eyed and they're kind of violent and screaming, the method of kind of possession is a little different. It's more biological, and as such, it's a little more grotesque. It's, in a way, less spiritual, even though it's clearly a kind of a supernatural thing that is happening here. It is treated more like a parasitic or viral infection, a very grotesque one. So it gives it a little bit of a point of difference, I would say. It's a similar movie in regards to what happens, I suppose, in a lot of possession movies to a certain degree, but it's kind of aesthetics as such are unique in a way, which gives it some some of its own flavour. I also think we don't really get like a priest character in this one. The relationship really is between the three brothers, all of which don't really get on. And there's also a kind of a fourth character who's in sort of part of the film. And again, it kind of has that little bit more of a blue collar flavour to it. These guys are all sort of, salt of the earth types, and they're not experts in their field. They're just kind of trying to do the best in regards to what they are trying to achieve, and maybe their ideas about how to to get to that point. Which again, I think maybe gives this movie some point of difference to many other kind of possession style films. I think the most memorable thing, however, in this movie is the grotesque nature of these parasitic kind of infestations, possessions, whatever you want to call it, where we have like a somewhat grotesque biological entity gestating inside a body, a little bit like Alien, I suppose, that ends up sort of coming out and being a problem itself, and it's able to be dealt with in a more terrestrial fashion, you might say, but it's very grotesque, very well realised in these kind of practical effects, which are very gooey and horrible looking. I think the wounds and the when we see these things kind of coming out, it looks very gross. kind of fun, but very, very gross. And we have this, I guess, fully formed entity at one point. And I think it's a strange mix of looking grotesque, but also you feel a little bit of empathy, I have to say. They've made it kind of almost look like, you know, a sort of a sorrowful creature. When you kind of feel like, oh, you know, this kind of looks like it has this sadness to it. So that's, I mean, this is all done by the kind of the practical VFX. So I really have to say the work here was very good in regards to that. I think the acting is sort of solid. I think everyone here does a pretty good job in regards to their characters. I don't feel they're massively fleshed out, but that's more to do with the writing more so than the acting, I would suggest. So I think this movie has a lot of elements that are familiar, that if you're fans of possession movies, but also has some fresh ideas that I think make this movie have a sense of its own identity and feel a little unique in a very kind of crowded field, and also some very impressive VFX. What doesn't work, as I've kind of alluded to, one of the things I do think this movie suffers from a little bit is somewhat of a little bit of lack of characterization from our three principal kind of characters, these three brothers. You get some, certainly with our kind of the main brother, I guess. I didn't feel they were particularly fully formed characters, especially the kind of the younger one. So there's that. I have to say as well, I think this movie ended in an inopportune place. Without kind of spoiling anything here, there are circumstances that happen that make this movie feel like it ends on the second act, at the end of the second act. Now, had there been another third of this movie, it would be a very long film. But as it stands, the story goes, it almost feels like there should be some more to this, because there's certainly there's another character involved in the finale, without kind of spoiling it, who is alive and well maybe not well, but certainly alive, and that's kind of what happens there. We don't really know. We don't know the aftermath of what has happened at the end of the movie. We see that there's still things kind of going on. So I have to say, I thought this movie felt like it didn't really end. You know, there's a lot of things here that are kind of unresolved. I don't know if this is one of those films where they are making a sequel already, and it's kind of going to be a part 2 of this later on down the line. But just as it stands for one film, because that's all we can judge, is this one film on its own, it does feel like the movie really didn't have an ending. It just kind of like left a lot of things like still unanswered, still questions, and certainly in regards to circumstance, you feel that it's really a lot of things that are still, well, what has happened to that character? What was the end result of the results that happened in the kind of the last 20 minutes or so? To me, it felt like it was a bit of a non-ending. And in actual fact, you could argue if you could have a bit more to it, because the movie maybe spun its wheels just a little bit in the earlier on in the film, the first half. There's things could have been tightened up that if you needed to have more time to elaborate on the ending, you could have done by cutting down some things in the kind of the original movie, the first part of the film almost. So, it's a very well done film, I think, in regards to its concept and its execution of its visual style, but I think the storytelling here is a little on the lacking side, if you ask me. Just the sort of the character work and how the story doesn't feel fully formed to me. But overall, there's still enough here to say this is probably an above average style kind of horror movie. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. It does feel like there's stuff missing from this movie. There is an end credit scene, but it doesn't really, if anything, it adds more questions. So it's a 6 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Please leave me a comment and I'll look forward to you next time. Bye for now.